Welcome back for Season 3 of All Things Excellence, where women in leadership and business come to be challenged to learn and to grow. I'm your host, Chelsea DeBruin-Colbert, clarity coach, Enneagram guide, community builder, and your go-to girl for becoming the most excellent version of yourself. Here on All Things Excellence, we are obsessed with shining light on women who are doing the deep work and playing full out in the arena. We bring you their brilliance, their stories, and the magic they bring into the world. This season, I'm determined to step into the most powerful, profitable, peaceful, and aligned version of myself yet. So buckle up, because I'm bringing you with me. When one woman rises, we all get permission to rise as well. If you're ready to grow, rise, and step into your next level with effortless ease and love being surrounded by women who are doing the same, you're in the right place. Welcome to All Things Excellence. Hey, All Things Excellence fam, welcome back. Today we are talking about the cost of indecision and how not making a decision is actually costing you way more than you think. Recently I developed we're going to call it my new favorite webinar. My new favorite webinar ever. I cannot wait to teach this to teams, individuals, online, in the office, wherever people will want me to come, talking about how to make better decisions faster. So I'm going to give you a little teaser into our Make Better Decisions Faster today by talking about the cost of indecision. How the cost of indecision, not only is it costing you time, it's costing you energy, it's costing you missed opportunities, and most importantly, y'all, it is eroding your self-trust. You know, you've heard me talk about there's this trust recession that we have online, people overpromising and under-delivering, but I also think that we have what is called a self-trust recession, where we have lived in the land of indecision so much, especially these last 5-6 years, because there's just been a lot of uncertainty. There's been a lot of unknowns, a lot of uncertainty. So the more uncertainty we have, the more likely we are to live in indecision, because we just don't know what to do. We don't know what's going to happen. The things that we used to be able to count on, we no longer can count on. Trends are changing faster than ever. I mean, heck, just the trend of what jeans are in style is changing so fast. We're used to be able to keep a pair of jeans for a couple years. Like, think about skinny jeans. Skinny jeans were, my gosh, we wore skinny jeans for probably way too long. And then we all of a sudden went back to more of like the bell-bottom flare look. And now we're into these like barrel bottom, but now we're into the straight leg. The fads and the trends online, in clothing, in business, in eating, in everything are changing so fast. It's causing us to need to make new decisions constantly. And it's really just the age of information, how we're getting information at such a rapid rate. Things are changing at such a rapid rate. We're needing to get to this place where we can make better decisions faster, because the information is coming at us so fast that we're needing to learn how to make these decisions faster, because before we make one decision, we're needing to move on and make a new one. And if every time, so think about this, every time you don't decide, you make a decision to train yourself not to trust yourself. Every time you don't make a decision, you're training yourself not to trust yourself, because you're programming your brain to go into this land of overthinking, overanalyzing, and I would bet asking everyone, putting your life up for a committee vote. My mom would always say that, putting your life up for a committee vote. Why are you putting your life up for a committee vote? I want you to think of 1 to 2 things right now that you are in an indecision spiral about. I call it an indecision spiral. What are a couple things, 1 to 2 key things that you are in an indecision spiral over? The ones that are waking you up between 2 and 3 in the morning, and you're laying awake in your bed and you're staring at the ceiling and you're spiraling, thinking about. The ones that when you're getting ready to fall asleep, you want to stay awake longer. You're not going to bed when you need to go to bed, because all you want to do is you want to numb out and you want to watch one more episode of Netflix so you don't have to wake up tomorrow and deal with probably needing to make a decision for that. What are those things? I want you to write them down, type them in a note on your phone, and tell me what has been the cost of this indecision so far. And then I want you to look at those things, and I want you to think to yourself, what is the worst thing that could happen with this indecision spiral I have going on right now? What is the worst thing that could happen if you make a decision? And if we're going to entertain the worst, we also have to entertain the best. In a world where light exists because dark exists and black exists because white exists, what is the worst thing that can happen? But also you have to entertain what is the best thing that could happen. I also want you to entertain the fact that indecision is also a form of avoidance. Avoiding growth, avoiding conversations, maybe avoiding visibility, being seen. What could you be choosing to avoid by not making this decision? What area of growth are you avoiding? Is it an identity thing? Do you know that by making this decision, your growth will immediately explode? Maybe your business will explode. Relationships in your life will explode. And sometimes we don't allow ourselves to do that because how we see ourselves, our current identity, doesn't match the results of us making that decision. And so we also know there's going to be more work inside of that. So we avoid making the decision. So we avoid leveling up in our life. Think about what's keeping you stuck in this loop of indecision. Okay? And I want you to know that I have this theory that it's not so much that you don't know what to do, but I have this belief that there are so many different parts pulling you in different directions. So this is what I want you to think about right now. I want you to think about Pixar's movie Inside Out and how you have all those voices in your head. If you've never seen it, go watch it. Now we have even 1 and 2. They're both incredible. So in the movie, Pixar's movie Inside Out, inside of the daughter's head and in the parent's head, they entertain the different emotions. There's about 5 different emotions. You've got joy, anger, sadness. I think there's like a disdain. There's the different ones with the different versions with number 1 and number 2. And when you think about that and you think about your own voices that are spiraling in your head, that are talking loud, some are whispering, but some are screaming. I want you to write down what voice is the loudest in those 1 to 2 decisions that we're talking about right now that you're avoiding. Your 2 areas of indecision spiral. Which voices are the loudest? Now, in my Make Better Decisions Faster webinar, we go into really deep detail about the 5 voices arguing out the decisions in your head, which one might be louder than another and why. And because of the glorious internet memes, you might think that your personality type is as simple as just your core Enneagram type. We're going to talk about Enneagram and maybe one of your wings. You might go, oh, I'm a 2-wing 3. Oh, I'm a 5-wing 4. But I'm here to tell you that there are actually 3 other voices that have been showing up to the party with an opinion, and maybe you didn't even know it. You might be living in your stressed opinion and not even knowing it. I had somebody come on our webinar, good friend of ours, but known him for 4 years. We see him a lot. We work at the school with him. And it was really fun just to be able to have him on the webinar. And he's got a lot of stuff going on in his life right now. And he had tested as an 8. And I said, well, I know that you're a 2. And I said, but it would make sense to me that you're testing as an 8 because of what's going on in your life. There's a lot going on in your life. You got a lot on your plate, a lot on your, just things moving around with family situations. And so it would make sense to me that you would test there. And even looked at the attributes of the 8. And I said, yeah, I do see those shining through. But what I know is that you're a 2 because I've seen how you respond and I've seen the things that are most important to you. And I bet if you get on this webinar, I bet you're going to see that. Well, of course, he gets on the webinar. We go do a deep dive into all of the 9 voices that can be speaking. And we really analyze which 5 are the loudest for him. And so we're not going to go into today how you have 5 voices and how to know which 5 voices are yours. But I am going to drop a little teaser of each type. Okay, and what that voice might be saying that's either making you make poor choices, drag out your decision, or maybe not making a decision at all. And the thing that I always have to remind my very passive peacemaking husband is that not making a decision actually is also making a decision. So remember, each type also has its own subtype spin on it. So not all types that I'm about to list out are created equal, but they should resonate a little. So here's a little teaser on each type and as to why you might be stuck. First up, we have type 1s. They are the reformer perfectionists. Their basic need is to be perfect and to get it right. And I want you to know that you are not stuck because you don't know what to do. You are stuck because you're trying to get it right. And sometimes good enough is just good enough. And you have to realize it will never be perfect enough for you to do it. All the lights will actually never be all green. And it's just time to trust yourself and go. Type 2 is known as the helper. Their basic need is to be needed. You feel what every single person needs, but you're also really disconnected from what you want. People still want you around, even if you aren't helpful, and actually do what you want, not just what they want. People still want you around even if you aren't helpful, and you do what you want, not just what they want. Type 3, the achiever. Their basic need is to be successful. Here's what I want you to know if you're a type 3. You know how to make successful decisions, just not always aligned ones. And I want you to ask yourself, am I choosing this because it will feel good or mostly because it will look good? And that might be the loudest voice in your head. You have a decision, you know what you want to do, but you're worried about how you will look if that's what you choose to do. Type 4 is the individualist. Their main desire is to be unique. You are waiting for it to feel right. And that feeling keeps changing because you have a lot of the feelings going on inside of you. And I want you to give yourself permission to choose and change your mind later if you follow the path and it no longer feels like the right one. Type 5, the investigator. Your need is to know. I think we all know what's going on here. Y'all think that one more piece of information will make it more clear and it'll make the choice more obvious. If you could just research a little more, Google a little more, chat GPT a little more, read another book, research another article. No amount of information is ever going to be enough. Because when is enough research and info gathering simply enough? And reminding yourself you need to get back into action, get back into your doing mode. You've researched enough. And so just decide. I always joke about, I allow myself to go to coffee with the researcher version of myself, but we don't go on a long extended stay at an Airbnb. And I formerly had built a house with that overthinking, overanalyzing, over-researching version of myself. But we don't do that anymore. We do not build a house. We do not go on vacation together, but we do allow each other to go to lunch together. And so knowing when is enough, you've researched enough, you've gone to lunch, now it's time to make a decision and move on. Type 6s are the loyalists, and their basic need is to be secure and to be safe. You've asked everyone else, but you still don't trust your own answer. I think the 6s might be the kings and the queens of questioning themselves and actually not trusting their own inner guidance. And I want you to give yourself the opportunity to try something that just might fail. And I want you to know it's going to be okay. Our 7s are the enthusiasts, and their need is to avoid pain. Okay, I want you to know this. You don't feel stuck, but you keep avoiding the one decision that would actually move your life forward. You convince yourself that not slowing down to look at tough decisions or numbers in your business or relationships that need to shift are keeping you more productive. When in reality, not looking at these things, not looking at what need to have decisions made is the very thing that's holding you back. So if you keep asking yourself, if you're a 7 and you keep asking yourself, I don't know why I can't keep moving forward. I don't know why I can't keep hitting my goal. There are things that you are avoiding. There are decisions that need to be made. There are numbers, relationships, tough decisions that you need to look at and make different decisions and stop avoiding them. Type 8, the challengers, the need for lust and intensity. Y'all would rather make a fast decision and deal with the consequences later than sit in the discomfort of not knowing what's happening. Okay, y'all, I am this type and I feel this so hard. It's almost like we are allergic to uncertainty and we would rather sit in making a decision that might be wrong than sit in the uncertainty and the indecision. Growth for an 8 is slowing down to look at the facts and consider others the decision might involve and how it will affect them. Now, if you have an 8 in your life, you're like, that's right. Y'all so busy making a decision so fast, you forget about how it affects other people. That has been some of the greatest growth in my life as an 8. Type 9, they are peacemakers, and their need is to avoid everything that rocks their boat. While you're constantly telling yourself, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, you're actually quietly avoiding the decision altogether. You'll have heard me talk about Kobe's meltdown over a school thing a couple months ago when he just simply kept avoiding it. I had a really great conversation this morning with my executive assistant on this. We were talking about the webinar and her thoughts and questions that had come up for her, and she is a 9. And we talked about that sometimes 9s avoid making decisions or say yes to things they don't actually want to do, thinking that's the easy way out, when in reality, not using their voice, not stating their opinion, not rocking the small boat causes them to rock an even bigger boat in the long run. Avoiding making the decision, doing the things that you don't want to do, just bending over and saying yes instead of standing up for yourself and saying no, or stating your own opinion or using your brain to make your own decision because you just want to kind of stay numb to it, creates bigger waves in the long run. I want you to remember there are 5 voices that I just touched on having an opinion in your head. So while I listed the 9 types, you personally have 5 of those 9 types having an opinion in your head at once. Some might be softer than others, but all 5 of them are there. So I want you to know that it's not that you are bad at making decisions. You're just not quite sure who is saying what and why your brain is causing you to either listen to the wrong voice or live in this lane of constant indecision, not understanding your own perspective. And that friend that was on the webinar the other day, there was some things that he was doing and some decisions that he was making. And I said, the most stressed voice in your head is being the loudest right now. And the decisions that it's making 20 years from now, your core type is going to be mad. You're going to be disappointed and you're going to wish that you didn't make those decisions. And so helping him understand that the loudest voice in his head wasn't necessarily the one that he wants to follow right now, even though his feelings were valid, was very helpful in helping him come back to his core type, come back to his best self. So I want you to think back to the decisions we talked about in the beginning. Those ones that you've been sitting on, those 1 to 2 decisions, you're like, I'm living in my indecision spiral on. Which part of you, those parts that I listed out, those different types, which one of you is the loudest right now? Which is the loudest? What are you afraid will happen if you make a decision? What is the decision you know has to be made, but you're dragging your feet, you're ignoring it? I want you to write down, what is not making this decision costing you? How much time has it cost you? Relationships? Has it cost you money? How has not making a decision yet started to erode away at your self-trust? Okay, now most people get to here, you start seeing patterns, and then you realize, you're like, I can't keep going like this. Oh my gosh, she's calling me out. I'm feeling this hard. She's literally calling me out so hard. And you realize right now you're going, I've got to dig deeper on this. I've got to start doing the hard work. I've got to face myself. Enough is enough. I can't live like this. You realize you need to find someone that's going to help you uncover the blind spots, keeping you from your best self. And that is exactly why I created my favorite webinar ever. Make better decisions faster. In that webinar, we're going to dive deeper into which voices specifically are having an opinion in your personal decision making. We do live coaching at the end where I help you unpack current situations in your life and how to start moving through them faster, increasing your self-trust and exploding your confidence, knowing that you are now becoming the master at making better decisions. So if you are tired of overthinking and you're ready to actually trust yourself, and you're sick of laying awake in the middle of the night between 2 and 3 a.m., that indecision spiral just swirling in your head, swirling in your heart, swirling in your gut, this is the room y'all want to be in. You can go to the link in the show notes, or you can go to chelseadbc.com/webinar. And if you're like, lady, absolutely, I am not going to wait for this next webinar. I want to learn more right now, and I want to get moving today. We can dive into a one-on-one coaching partnership, and we can start moving through your business and life decisions better and faster with me as your ongoing processing partner. So if you're interested in any of that, if you have questions, I want you to run to Instagram, head to my DMs, and let me know, what are your questions? What are you thinking? What thoughts are going through your head? What areas do you have an indecision spiral in? And let's have a little conversation back and forth in those DMs and see if that's something that I can help you with today. I want to thank y'all for joining me today, and we will talk to y'all next time. Thanks for listening to All Things Excellence. If something landed with you today, I'd love for you to follow the show, share it with a friend, or leave a quick review. It helps more women find these transformational conversations. And if you're ready for support with your next step, or needing someone to stand in the gap with you to figure out what that even is, I'd love to create that space for you. And my intro clarity call is a great place to start, because life is too quick and too full to have to figure it out alone. Until next time, All Things Excellence fam, thank you for listening.